Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album, the 9th overall, from American death metal, Deathgrind, extreme metal institution, Exhumed, entitled To the Dead. I have been following and admiring Exhumed and their particular take on gory and gruesome death metal goodness for just over a decade now, following the release of All Guts No Glory in 2011. And for the most part, I've enjoyed Exhumed's discography. Nothing has really blown me away, but at the same time, there's nothing that they've released that I outright hate or despise or even dislike. They have become an incredibly reliable and consistent source of all the greasy nutrients and all the bloody riffs that one may normally want and expect of any death metal or Deathgrind record, with no major or minor variations in style or tone, aside from some 80s nostalgia on records like Death Revenge and Horror. With this in mind, there's plenty of good-ish enough reason to be semi-excited for To the Dead, though truth be told, I haven't really been feeling the hype myself. The fact is, Exhumed, like a lot of other older death metal bands, to be fair, are a bit of a one-trick pony. The difference being that, unlike some of those older death metal bands, like, say, Bloodbath and Autopsy, who have already released killer records this year, you know, I don't feel Exhumed are amazing at that one trick. They're good at that one trick, but not stellar. Not like, wow, mind-blowing, as we've discussed. Top that off with the additional fact that 2022 is already cram-packed like a can of sardines with killer death metal from the aforementioned Autopsy and Bloodbath, duh, but also from Undeath, Ripped to Shreds, Mortuous, and many, many more, and suddenly it becomes pretty easy to simply not care about Exhumed, to treat it like the oil that said sardines may be packaged in, and simply toss it away. To be blunt, I was this close to simply tossing To the Dead into the albums I missed pile for the end of the month. Obviously, I didn't do that, because here we are. And actually, I'm happy that I did not do that, because as it turns out, not only is this still a pretty good record, but it might even be Exhumed's most urgent record in a very long time, and possibly one of their best overall. It actually does remind me of those recent Bloodbath and Autopsy records with that in mind. I mean, it is a bloodthirsty collection of hard-hitting death and grind and extreme metal ragers and jams and bangers. It's consistently very precise, intense, brutal, punchy. The production does a good job at making everything feel like really full-bodied and balanced in the forefront of the sound, but there are enough like little underground flourishes to still make this kind of feel like you're listening to Exhumed like live in a basement somewhere. Like, it feels pretty raw, but it actually has genuine polish to it. It reminds me a lot of gore metal and Necrospective with that in mind. In a surprising move, the band's mastermind, Matt Harvey, also went as far as to invite former members of Exhumed into the songwriting process for this record, namely Mike Beams, Leon Del Muerte, Matt Widener, and Bud Burke. And I have to assume that these four guys, on top of everyone in Exhumed, and frankly everyone working behind the scenes, were as giddy as fucking school children while putting this record together. Because there is an absurd level of joyous, crazed energy across this thing. Carbonized, for instance, is a 3-minute death metal roller coaster that is filled with frantic guitar riffing and pounding percussion and a guitar solo that literally sounds as if the roller coaster cart itself is about to fly off the tracks. Rename that coaster Space Mountain, because holy shit, that thing is soaring through the stars, might I add. Then there's Defecated, which has some tight staccato riffing and some morbid angel-esque grooves. It even manages to squeeze in a very short, ominous burst of string work. Tracks like Rank and Defiled and Disgusted also have a bit of a classic metal sheen to them, with some dual twin guitar leads and harmonies that, you know, paired with the battering death metal, kind of brings to mind, like, Heartwork era Carcass? Kind of, sort of? Carcass influence rearing its head on an Exhumed record is not exactly a new thing, but typically Exhumed sticks to, like, Reek of Putrefaction and Symphonies of Sickness, so I'll take what I can get. At least it's a different era. Plus, Heartwork rules. Carcass rules. If you're going to take, or borrow, whatever word you want to use, fuck it. Do so from that record and from that band. The opening track, Putrescine and Cadaverine, is an egregiously over-the-top and gory number. Like, this literally sounds like a bunch of zombies just going feral. Everything from that slimy bass tone to that assault rifle percussion to the onslaught of gurgling guttural vocals, it's just, mwah, chef's kiss, delicious. And from here, I think you get the idea. I mean, Necrotica, no headstone unturned, drained of color. It's consistently Exhumed doing what they know how to do, but doing so with a lot of energy, a lot of brutality, a lot of passion. Are Exhumed a bit of a one-trick pony? I would say yes. I would hope at the very least that's not a very controversial or bold thing to suggest, but to Exhumed's credit, that pony is executing said trick better than ever before unto the dead. I'm feeling a pretty strong 4 out of 5 on this, maybe leaning towards a 3.5 out of 5, but, you know, I really don't have any issues or criticisms for this thing whatsoever. It's just super strong from start to finish, super heavy, super nasty, super brutal, super everything that you know and love about Exhumed and death metal and Deathgrind. If you never gave a shit about Exhumed before, then there's nothing on this record that would change your mind whatso-fucking-ever. In fact, I'm kind of impressed you made it this far in the video, if that's the case. By no means the best death metal record I've heard this year. In fact, I would still probably pick recent records from Undeath, Ripped to Shreds, Autopsy, Bloodbath over this, and this is before we even get to, like, tech death and melodic death metal or whatever. But, you know, still super well made, still really fun to listen to. I think a 4 out of 5 is more than earned here. It's great. Have fun. Check it out. Order some pizza. Drink some beer. You know, listen to this record with your buds, and I'm sure you'll all have a great time. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.